Didn't know it was a comedy truck.
For 21 fucking years, comedy's been putting food on my table. Protection money.
The scene opens on a seemingly ordinary afternoon in an urban Italian-American neighborhood. The sun is shining, traffic is moving at a leisurely pace, and three men are seated around a small table on the sidewalk. To a passerby, this might look like a casual gathering of old friends or relatives enjoying a coffee break outside a local business. However, this peaceful exterior is a carefully constructed facade. What is actually taking place is a sit-down, a formal, high-stakes diplomatic meeting between high-ranking members of an organized crime family. The scene functions as a dense microcosm of the mafia's entire social structure, illustrating the complex interplay between business economics, family loyalty, the rigidity of hierarchy, and the inescapable vulnerability of the human body.
Hey, Chris didn't know going in.
Bullshit.
You on my DVD player? You can watch Grumpy Old Men.
The primary catalyst for this meeting is a violation of the mafia's strict economic code. The conflict centers on Junior, the oldest man at the table, who is visibly agitated. His grievance is not merely a matter of personal offense, but a significant business disruption. For over 20 years, Junior has maintained a protection racket involving a specific trucking company. In the world of organized crime, protection is a service where business owners pay the mob to ensure their operations are not targeted by criminals. This arrangement is the lifeblood of Junior's income. It is how he maintains his lifestyle and status. The stability of this arrangement was shattered when a truck belonging to this protected company was hijacked. Junior has identified the culprits as the crew led by his own nephew, Tony. Specifically, Junior blames Christopher, a young associate in Tony's circle, whom he views as reckless and uncontrollable. By targeting a business that was already paying for protection, Tony's crew has effectively stolen from Junior, violating the internal laws that govern their criminal society. This act undermines Junior's authority and threatens his financial security, prompting him to demand this formal meeting to seek redress. Tony's defense offers a glimpse into his leadership style and his approach to conflict resolution. Confronted with Junior's anger, Tony adopts a posture of casual denial. He claims that his crew did not know the truck belonged to a protected company. This defense is strategic. By pleading ignorance, Tony attempts to frame the incident as an unfortunate mistake rather than an act of aggression or disrespect. He tries to shield his subordinate, Christopher, from the full weight of Junior's wrath. However, Junior is too experienced to accept this explanation. He immediately dismisses Tony's claim as a falsehood, asserting that his business interests are well known within their circle. Junior's refusal to accept the excuse highlights the tightness of their community in their world. Ignorance is rarely a valid defense because everyone is expected to know who owns what. Junior's aggressive rebuttal also serves to reassert his dominance, reminding Tony that he cannot be easily deceived or manipulated.
You're gonna be a fucking funny boy too now, huh?
Hey, you Sopranos. Jackie, you go around hoping you and your uncle could settle a thing, just the two of you. Not be invited to a fucking sit-down.
Sitting at the center of this dispute is Jackie, the acting boss of the family. His presence transforms the argument from a family squabble into an official legal proceeding. In the hierarchy of the mafia, the boss serves as the Supreme Court judge. Once a dispute is brought to him, his word is final. However, Jackie's demeanor throughout the scene is one of reluctance and exhaustion. He appears annoyed that he's been dragged into a conflict over a single truck, suggesting that Tony and Junior should have been able to resolve such a minor issue privately. This reluctance speaks to the burden of leadership. Jackie is responsible for maintaining peace among his captains, a task that requires constant mediation of petty grievances.
You got fucking Chiricahuas working for you. You don't control them. Jackie, you got a ruling?
Despite his lack of enthusiasm, Jackie fulfills his role. When pressed for a decision, he issues a ruling that is simple and restorative. The people who stole the truck must pay restitution to Junior. They must replace the value of what was taken.
The kids who hit that truck, they make restitution to Junior.
Done. It's done.
The power dynamics of the mafia are starkly illustrated by the immediate aftermath of Jackie's ruling. The moment the boss speaks, the debate ends. Tony, who had been arguing and making excuses just seconds before, instantly accepts the verdict. He raises his hands in a gesture of submission and declares the matter finished. There is no appeal process, no further negotiation, and no lingering argument. This absolute obedience demonstrates the structural integrity of the organization. The authority of the boss is absolute, regardless of the personal feelings of the subordinates. By accepting the ruling without complaint, Tony reinforces the chain of command, acknowledging that the stability of the family is more important than the money he might lose by paying Junior back. However, the scene layers a profound sense of tragedy over this display of political power. While Jackie holds the highest rank at the table, possessing the authority to order men to their deaths or settle financial disputes worth thousands of dollars, he is physically the weakest person present. The visual language of the scene emphasizes his frailty. He is slumped over the table, his movements are slow, and he frequently rests his head in his hand, as if the weight of his own skull is too much to bear. When the conversation shifts to his health, the facade of the invincible mob boss crumbles entirely.
And that Faloney kid, if
I
ever...
should get a man out of a sick bed.
Hey, fuck that shit. I may be acting boss, well, I wish somebody tell my bowels, because they don't obey.
Jackie admits to his subordinates that he is undergoing chemotherapy. He describes a harrowing reality where his body is in active rebellion against him. He grimly notes that while he may be the acting boss of the family, he cannot even command his own bowels to function correctly. This confession creates a jarring contrast between his social status and his biological reality. He can command armies of criminals, but he is powerless against the cells mutating inside his own body. This discussion of illness inevitably leads to the topic of succession, introducing a current of political intrigue that runs beneath the surface of the conversation. Jackie, aware of his mortality, muses aloud about the need to name a successor to take his place if he does not survive.
Maybe I should name a successor.
This day and age, who wants the fucking job?
This is a dangerous topic. In the mafia, ambition can get a person killed, and expressing a desire for the top job is often seen as a threat. Tony handles this delicate moment with practiced deflection. He uses humor to distance himself from the idea of promotion, joking that nobody would want the job because of the stress involved. He frames the position of boss not as a prize, but as a burden that he is happy to avoid. This false modesty is a survival tactic. By pretending he doesn't want the power, Tony protects himself from appearing overly ambitious. Meanwhile, Junior remains conspicuously silent during this exchange. He watches and listens, his eyes moving between the other two men. His silence is heavy with implication. Unlike Tony, who covers his ambition with noise, Junior conceals his intentions, likely calculating his own path to the throne as he watches the current leader fade away. The relationship between Tony and Junior serves as a secondary focal point for the scene, illustrating the generational tension that fractures the organization. Although they are uncle and nephew, their interactions are laced with hostility and a lack of mutual respect. Tony represents the modern, assimilationist generation of the mob. Junior values decorum, seniority, and rigid adherence to the rules. But Junior views Tony and his young crew as undisciplined cowboys who lack the sophistication and control of the older generation. He uses derogatory terms to describe Tony's workforce, implying that Tony is a weak leader who cannot control the wild impulses of his subordinates. This friction highlights a broader theme of decay within the organization. The old guard feels their values are being eroded by a younger generation that they view as reckless and entitled. The visual setting of the scene reinforces these themes of public versus private lives. The men are sitting on a public sidewalk, surrounded by the mundane flow of everyday life. Pedestrians walk by, and cars drive down the street, seemingly oblivious to the criminal conspiracy unfolding just a few feet away. This proximity to the civilian world necessitates a coded way of speaking. The men do not shout about murder or extortion, they speak in euphemisms and shorthand. They talk about restitution and rulings and trucks, masking the violence of their trade with the language of business. It serves as a reminder that this criminal organization is not hidden in a dungeon. It is woven into the fabric of the neighborhood, operating in plain sight, sitting at the cafe table next door.
Your mom tells me you got a girl coming in to help? That's good.
As the meeting draws to a close, the conversation shifts from the professional to the personal, specifically regarding the care of Tony's aging mother. Junior mentions that he heard Tony has hired a home health aide to assist her. Tony confirms this, nodding and agreeing that it is a good arrangement. This brief interlude serves two purposes. First, it humanizes the characters, reminding the audience that these violent men are also sons and nephews with domestic responsibilities. Second, it highlights the constant surveillance and gossip that permeates their lives. Junior knows about the nurse not because Tony told him, but because he heard it through the family grapevine. Information in their world travels fast, and privacy is non-existent. Even the hiring of a domestic servant is a matter of discussion among the hierarchy. The conclusion of the scene offers a masterclass in the duality of the mafia lifestyle, the separation between the face one shows to the family and the face one wears in private. As Tony stands up to leave, he performs a ritual of reconciliation. He approaches Junior and embraces him. This hug is a mandatory social signal.
I gotta go. We okay? All right.
It communicates that despite the arguments, the insults, and the financial disputes, they are still blood relatives and partners in crime. Tony asks, "We okay?" seeking verbal confirmation that the conflict is resolved. Junior allows the hug, maintaining the appearance of familial solidarity. For a moment, it seems as though the tension has dissipated. However, the reality of their relationship is revealed in the final seconds of the clip. The moment Tony turns his back and begins walking away, Junior drops the mask. He turns to Jackie and mutters a vile, racist insult regarding the help.
Smoke he hires for his own mother.
This comment serves multiple functions in the narrative. It reestablishes Junior's bitterness. He cannot let Tony leave without making one final judgment against him. It also reveals Junior's deep-seated prejudice and his two-faced nature. He hugged his nephew only seconds before, yet he immediately speaks ill of him as soon as he is out of earshot. This betrayal of intimacy underscores the precarious nature of trust in their world. A hug is just a performance. The knife is always waiting in the background. The final image of the scene is Tony walking alone across the street, leaving the pork store behind. This visual composition is symbolic of his trajectory. He is physically separating himself herself from the two older men, one who is dying and one who is living in the past. Tony's stride is purposeful and solitary, while Jackie remains stuck at the table with his illness and Junior remains stuck in his bitterness. Tony is moving forward. The scene leaves the viewer with a sense of an inevitable changing of the guard. The old leadership is rotting away, either through cancer or through obsolescence, and the future, however chaotic and loose cannon it may be, belongs to Tony. The meeting at the pork store solved the issue of the truck, but it left the much larger issues of life, death, and power completely unresolved, hanging in the humid air of the New Jersey afternoon.